FilmoraPro Video Editor, advanced editing, effects, and motion graphics made easy. This series of tutorials are going to show you the basics of editing in FilmoraPro from start to finish. Hi everyone, my name is Johnny, and in this tutorial we will learn some compositing basics. We'll learn about blend modes, transforms, and alignment tools. In FilmoraPro, there are two panels for different types of transformations, the Controls panel and the Layout panel. So I'll move both of them closer to the viewer so you can look at them next to the final result. The Controls panel shows you all the properties related to a selected clip and can let us change them. In the clip properties, we have two options. The first option is Blend, and here we can choose different modes. A blending mode on a layer will affect how its pixels will blend with the pixels on the layer below to create completely different effects. These modes are used in most photo editing and graphics apps to apply different effects. In video, when an object is moving faster than the shutter speed of the camera, this can result in blurry edges on the object, like this dancer's hand. FilmoraPro can simulate this effect on animated moving layers if we activate this feature. Then we have the transform options. Operating with numerical values, FilmoraPro, like most editing software, works on an axis-based frame. The x-axis is the horizontal axis and the y is the vertical one. The origin, which is 0x and 0y, is in the middle of the frame. This means that we'll have positive x values on the right side, negative x values on the left, positive y on the top part, and negative y on the bottom. The anchor point is the point in which the layer transforms around, so all the transformations will depend on its position. By default, this coincides with the center of the layer, but we can change its position altering these two values. The first one will be the x value and the second one will be the y value. We'll see that the anchor point will stay in place on the frame while the content on the layer is moving. The next option will change the position of the layer, and its value will depend on the anchor point's position. As always, the first value is x and the second one is y. These are expressed in pixels. We can also change the position by dragging the object on the viewer, or dragging from the red arrow to move on its x-axis only, and the same with the green arrow on the y-axis. You'll notice a circle on the left of this option. If we click on it, it will create a keyframe. This means that every attribute that has this circle can be animated. Next we have scale. So here we can change the size of the layers around the anchor point. It is expressed in percentage of the original size. By default, the aspect ratio is locked, so we can unlock it by clicking on this chain icon. We can freely change the scale by grabbing on any of the white squares on the corners of the selection, and if we hold Shift, the transformation will lock the aspect ratio. The rotation is expressed in degrees, and it will turn around the anchor point. The X value is the amount of full turns. This is only useful if we animate the rotation. We have a dial available to visually transform the rotation. And we can also do this in the viewer by clicking and dragging from this blue square. The opacity is the overall transparency of the object. 100% will be fully opaque and 0% will be completely transparent. Below this list will appear any effect that we apply to the layer, but for now let's go to the Layout panel. All of the attributes on this panel can be applied to more than one layer at the same time if they're selected. First, here we'll have four options. The mirror option will flip the content of the layer vertically or horizontally. The two circular arrows will rotate the layer 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise. Next, we have the anchor point position selector. It is by default on the center of the layer, but we can change it to the corners or to the sides. This anchor point will not affect the transformations on the Controls panel, but the position and scale options on the right. This is especially useful to transform several layers at once. And finally, we have alignment. On the left, we have the horizontal alignment tools, and on the right, the vertical ones. If we align horizontally to the center, our layer will be centered on the origin of the x-axis. These transformations will depend on the layer content and not the anchor point. If we align to the sides, our object will move as far as possible to one of the sides without falling off of the frame. The vertical align tool will do the same on the y-axis: center, align to top, and align to bottom. If we select more than one layer, we can change the alignment from timeline to selection. This will align the objects according to other selected objects. For example, if we align to the right, the object that is further to that side will remain in its place and all the other objects will align to its edge. And if we center to the selection, it will center all of the objects between the two furthest edges. If we select 3 or more layers, the Distribute Objects options will be available. These options are useful if we want to evenly space multiple objects. We can distribute them vertically and horizontally. So those are the tools to compose our layers. To learn more about Filmora Pro, make sure to check out our other tutorials. There's no limit to what you can make.